again, everybody. It's me, MadameMacabre, and I have just gotten back from a vacation full of paranormal experiences. Okay, first things first, I know, I need to address the elephant in the room. It has been a while since I have had any sort of, like, face cam video for you guys, or just general updates in general. And I'm aware of that, and I'm gonna try and get some normalcy back. But there's been a lot going on in my personal life up to this point that's made it a little bit crazy for me. And I figured now that I have a moment to breathe, it would be a good opportunity to sort of just bring you guys up to speed on some of the things that have been happening, as well as bring you some story times. So first things first, to get some things out of the way. Yes, I've been away for a while. I have been doing some traveling. This has been a crazy busy summer for me because I am actually preparing for a move. In about 6 to 7 months, I'm going to be uprooting from Washington and shooting over to Arizona. So that will be an interesting process, but it should be for the best, I think. But that was part of why I was away. I was traveling down to visit friends who already live there, get a lay of the land, and sort of see how I liked it and everything, see if I really wanted to commit to living down there. And while I was down there, my friends were like, hey, we are only, 5.5 hours, 6 hours from Vegas. We could road trip down there for a couple days if you want while you come down. I hadn't been to Vegas since I was like 8 years old, so I was like, okay, sounds like a plan to me. They asked me if there was anything specific that I wanted to see while I was there, and of course the thing that jumps out to me is I like spooks. I like spooky things, and I know that Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures has his haunted museum there, so I'm like, y'all want to see some ghosts? I want to see some ghosts. So we ended up going to see the museum, and it was an experience. For those of you who have already been, this will just be kind of a recap for you guys, but for those of you who haven't been, allow me to paint a mental picture for you of this experience. So he bought, I can't remember the name of the mansion, but it is an actual mansion that's like rumored to actually be haunted and have a bunch of crazy stuff that happened in it. He has converted this into it's like 30 separate rooms, big old mansion, into a museum full of just a buttload of rumored to be haunted things, really just some weird things, some oddities, and then there's also like a museum aspect that's got like actual serial killer stuff in it, which I thought was pretty neat. But just arriving on the whole thing is an experience. I'll give them props for that. You get there and you pull out in front of this mansion, and you can really judge how well put together a place is based on the security. That can give you a good idea of how a place is run right off the bat. I've been at places where security is just, they're jerks. They don't need to be rude. They're power hungry and they're just not nice people. I've been to places like that. This was not one of them. I will say that his security, not only were they on point, making sure everyone was doing what they needed to do, but they were all very polite. So I can appreciate that, and that gave me good feelings right off the bat, because if your security is nice and professional and on point and friendly, that says a lot about your company and how you run things. So that was a treat. The lines were, it was hot. It was like 110 or something when we were in Vegas, but the whole line area was like filled with misters and stuff. But as you get to the front of the line, because there's like a back line area, then you get to fill to the front line. Lots of people. They only let a certain amount in at a time in their guided tours. Well, we're waiting in line, and I start to recognize a very familiar song. I'm on to you, Zach. I know. Any y'all ever been to Disneyland? And this little ride called Haunted Mansion? And when you're waiting in line, you hear a very distinct da 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 on the organ, like very slow, with somber instruments, certain beats in between little instrument changes. This boy done got the exact same instruments, the same tone, the same key, the same beats, just a different melody. Just enough to avoid the crushing glove of the mouse. But I knew what she was doing. You think I wouldn't know? You think I wouldn't know? Because that was nice, not haunted mansion music waiting outside the haunted mansion. I got what you're doing. He also, the whole aesthetic was just on point. It was so on point. This boy, he has his own water bottle brand. I kid you not. I'll have to put a picture up on the screen. He has his own water bottles with a picture of him edited. It just, the whole thing, it's your own water bottle. Like, the whole, not a detail was missed in this thing. You could tell it's a real labor of love, and I was digging it. The gargoyles looking like they were crying in the sun, I felt that. The fountain with Bones Malone chilling down at the bottom. He had a fountain with the skeleton down in the bottom, and it just, not a detail was missed. I will say that my favorite thing in possibly the whole experience was we're out front working security was this gentleman called Angry Joe. I feel like, you know, they say the friendships you make along the way are the real treasure. That was Angry Joe. I feel like he's my buddy, he's my pal. I feel like we had a connection there. I was able to be a little smartass. He appreciated it, and he shot it right back at me. I want you to know, if you ever come across this, Joe, I miss you, and you're my buddy. Seriously, though, anyone who can actually appreciate my cryptid smartassery, they're gonna be good in my books. They're gonna be my friend. 'Cause I'm a very eccentric kind of individual, so people that can appreciate that are good beans, good eggs. But moving on from that, I actually did get a very interesting cryptid sighting outside the museum. The cryptid. You know, I know it's Zach's museum, but I guess he's not always there. Also, I don't know if the sirens are picking up or not, but I feel like this is very ominous. But yeah, even though it is Zach's museum, he's not always there because he's out doing his projects or whatever. So there's not always the highest chance of him actually being there while you're there. Well, while I was amidst bickering with Angry Joe off in La La Land, you know, I'm not always the most spatially aware person. I get real into what I'm doing, and then everything else is out the window. And I'm bickering with Angry Joe, and then there's a group of people that's moving by, and I'm, you know, being Boo-Boo the Fool, jingling everywhere. And my friends that I'm there with, Autumn Ivy, Twin Skeletons, and Highwind Valor, they're like, Katie, look! And I'm like, huh? That group of people that passed us just up the way, it was Zach and some folks that he was chatting with. He was there in the flesh. And Boo-Boo the Fool was just jingling miserably across the floor, as usual. So at that point I'm like, oh, wow. I'm glad I got real close to having a big Boo-Boo the Fool moment, because, let me just say, I get bored easily, okay? And it was like a 40-minute line, and I ended up taking the special Zach Bagans Museum water bottle brand label off the water bottle, and ended up putting it on the hat that I was wearing, and I kept it there for a while, because I'm like that. I'm sorry, I can't change this. And, it was only because, like, the misters had hit it for a while, and it had, like, started to get real sad, that I, ended up peeling it off, and the joke was over. I don't know, fate saved me from a terrible fate, because I peeled it off only moments after he came out. God, how would I be able to Boo-Boo the Fool? That would be my piece de resistance. That would be my biggest jingle ever, is I'm waiting in line for the museum, he comes out, and I've got his freaking water bottle sticker on my head. That narrowly avoided that, Boo-Boo. But, so they're over there, and then they start heading back, like, we're in line, and they headed down by the hearse that was on the other end, and they were chatting there, and then they start heading back this way. I'm thinking, okay, all you gotta do is go, excuse me, could I please get a photo? Or, hi there, I'd like to have a photo with you, is that alright? Just easy sentence, easy words. It's not hard to do. Just make the mouth sounds come out the mouth hole. easy. Not easy. I talk big game, but I am so he comes passing the line. We're like building up. I'm just gonna ask for a picture. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's an easy thing to do. Just get a souvenir photo. You wore your cute pentagram dress today. You got all spooky up. You look good enough to take a photo and not hate it. Ask for a picture. And then the time comes. He passes in front of me. He's walking. I don't say anything. But in that moment, he turns. He makes eye contact with me. And then he kind of like smirks. And I forgot how to human. That Homer Simpson gif with the bush. That was me backing into the misters. I was gone. That wasn't fair. He smoldered at me. Who smolders at people? So, I didn't know how to speak. I forgot how to make word sounds. And I missed my chance. And I regret that. But there's nothing the smirk. Hard eye contact and a smirk. I didn't realize that was going to be a problem, but it was. So, no photo. You're just going to have to take my story at face value. I'm sorry. All I can say is thank God I had that freaking sticker off my head. I would have died and become the latest ghost attraction in that museum if he had made the eye contact with me while I still had the freaking water bottle sticker on my head. I almost died, you guys. So of course after that, Boo Boo Jingle's attitude of like being smartass went. That was gone. I was pretty quiet the rest of the way in. And then when we finally get in, super cool museum, like 10 out of 10, worth every dollar it costs to get in. I'm probably gonna make it like anytime I go back in the future, I'm gonna make it part of my itinerary just because I feel like he gets new stuff a lot, and it was just that good that I want to see it all again. I mean, I can't remember everything, and I don't want to like super spoil everything, but he had anything from like really haunted dolls. He had like that infamous, like extremely like possessed Dybbuk box. Got to look at that. He had one of the paintings from the Hands Resist Him series, the original, and that was really cool to see. I also got to look into Bela Lugosi's haunted mirror, and I started to see my face do weird things, and didn't care for that. Trying to think of other things that stood out to me. The serial killer room. I felt something in there. Oh, one thing that I should mention is before you go in, they make you sign a waiver, basically allowing them to like use your image, because they've got cameras in every room that are like monitoring for weird stuff, and if they capture it, they want to be able to use it. I mean, it sucks because there's no way for me to actually know if they caught anything, but I had some weird stuff happen there, and I'm curious if, like, I don't know, it'd be really cool to know if, like, where I was feeling things, if they actually caught anything. I think that'd be really cool, because in the serial killer room, he actually has Ted Bundy's real glasses, and, like, as I was leaning in to look at it, I felt a really firm, like, blick, like, kind of aggressive on the back of my neck, to the point where I actually jolted and, like, looked behind me, and I'm like, there was no one near me. Did anything pick up? Like, it was actually pretty aggressive, and I didn't care for that. I got flicked, and I skadoodled real fast out of that area, because didn't have a good vibe. Particularly, there was, like, he had some of Gacy's paintings. That was uncomfortable. He had that painting of blood with the cremated remains of Manson, and that painting made my stomach turn, so I had to go. Like, not because it was a gross-looking painting, but because it just had a bad vibe. He had the cauldron where Ed Gein cooked up his mama's intestines and ate them. That one made me lightheaded and feel like I was gonna pass out, so I had to get out of there. Funny enough, turns out that it affects women strongly, so wouldn't you know. I think the other thing that most intensely affected me, like, which I'm really curious about this if anything shows up on the footage they got, is the Devil's Rocking Chair, one of the items that the Warrens had. Now, in hindsight, is what spooked me, because essentially, the way it's laid out, there's up and down and everything. When I was approximately on the floor above where this item was, that's when I started being affected. I didn't know I was anywhere near this item, and I didn't know the significance of this item until after I saw it and heard the spiel about it. Above it, the room above it, I started getting really, really intense back pain. Like, out of nowhere, really bad, to the point where twin skeletons, I think, actually saw me, like, having to, like, when we were waiting in the hallway, like, push my back flat against one of the walls that we were there with, because my back was killing me. I'm like, out of nowhere, okay, that's weird. Then we go downstairs, and then the room below, and that's when they tell us that we're gonna see the devil's rocking chair. And again, this didn't mean anything to me at first, except when I went into that room, it's like the back pain doubled. It was excruciating, and I was just sitting there kind of with my hands on my back, suffering, like trying to enjoy what I'm being told, but I'm just in so much pain I can't think. And then they explain that one of the symptoms with this item is intense, excruciating back pain. Oh. Great. Wonderful. Let me out of this room. I want out. So yeah, that was like a big, okay, excuse me, moment. So I was real eager to get out of that room and get away from that item, because I didn't touch it, I didn't go near it. They've got it back in an area where you can't even reach it. But for some reason, it was having an intense effect on me, starting from when I was a floor above it, and then got worse when I was in the same room with it. It lingered for like 4 more hours. It wasn't until I was away from that museum and off elsewhere in Vegas for several hours before the back pain finally subsided. It was bad. So I would be really curious if anything interesting picked up with that. I mean, I hope they picked up things for, I mean, not just my curiosity, because I'm not sure I'll ever get to see it, but just for, I know they like to collect that stuff, so I hope my suffering was for something scientific. But yeah, that was the big things I can think of. There's like 30 rooms of stuff in there. There's so much that, I mean, I was feeling things and hearing things and stuff in various different rooms, but that was the big boy. And that was really it as far as the experience goes. I just, I wonder if there's a place we can go and see if they post any of their captured footage. That'd be interesting. But yes, I have rambled for quite a while, so I should probably wrap this up. Anyway, if you want my opinion of the museum, I give it 10 spooks out of 10. Absolutely would recommend, if that's your kind of thing. If you like paranormal stuff, if you like creepy stuff, absolutely recommend. And even if you're not so big into the paranormal, the fact that they had Manson, Bundy, Gacy, Geen, and Kevorkian stuff there. So they have, like, stuff of historical value as well, and, like, paintings and, like, Lugosi stuff, and, like, the captain of the Titanic, his mirror. Like, they have historical pieces. So even if you're not super into, like, just ghosts and stuff, it's still worth checking out just for those chunks of actual, like, morbid... If you like morbid history, then you will also really appreciate that as well, even if you're not so big into ghosts. So that would be my recommendation if you go to Vegas. But then again, I am a very strange little creature. I am a cryptid in my own right. But I got to see the real cryptid. CRYPTID sighted. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I know it has been a long video, and I know it's been a really long time since I've posted anything here, and I'm sorry about that. One cool thing though is I have started streaming. Primarily I'm doing it on Twitch. I'm gonna think about trying to start figuring out on how to do it on YouTube as well, but I'm really enjoying streaming. I'm gonna do that regularly now, and I'm gonna try and at least keep up with weekly uploads here. But I hope to catch you on my streams. I think it's really fun because I can actually directly interact with you guys and just hang out and have a more personal connection, but I will still try and get things up here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will catch you all next time, and until then, remember, stay creepy.